Harry Truman said, "Not all readers are leaders, but all leaders are readers." Hi, it's Mariana here today, and if you click on this video, there's a good chance you would like to read more. As a kid, I read a lot, and I mean a lot of books. I read 1 to 2 books a day. I read before school, during school, on my way home, at home, whenever I had a spare moment, or I didn't find whatever I was supposed to be doing interesting, I read. As an adult, I have way more responsibilities, and I also own a phone and a computer, which is probably the main reason why I read way less. But I would like to change that. There is no coincidence that successful people read a lot. The Center for Research into Reading, Literature and Society at the University of Liverpool conducted a study in 2015 and found out that as a reader, your life satisfaction, self-esteem, ability to cope with difficult situations, ability to make decisions, to plan and prioritize things, even making time for friends is way higher. It seems that there are many good reasons to read more, but the question still remains, how can I read more? I researched that and I'm going to share with you what I found out. If you like this kind of videos, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss on any of my new videos. Okay, let's get into those tips. Tip number 1, decide when you're going to read. Go through your day from morning till evening and ask yourself, when can I read? Is it with your morning coffee, while you commute, after lunch, in the evening, just before you fall asleep? There are many opportunities to read. You can do it in 2 ways. 1, you find a dedicated time. Ideally, you pair it with an already existing strong habit. For example, you read 25 pages with your morning coffee. Second, you can read whenever you have time. So instead of grabbing your phone, you are going to replace it with a book. If you're serious about reading, you can do both. You find dedicated time to read and you read whenever an opportunity arises. Tip number 2, have a book available at all times. I found using my e-reader the easiest, as I can take it wherever I go and I can read whenever I want to. You can read also ebooks on your phone, but I found that there are way too many distractions and I seem to never finish a book on my phone. If you drive a lot, you can download an audiobook and listen to it while you drive. Preferably you would download more than one book so that if you finish one, you can jump straight into the next one. If you walk a lot, have an audiobook on your phone ready to listen to. I usually listen to 2 books, one audiobook and one ebook at the same time. Nowadays, libraries not only provide us with physical books, but they also offer ebooks and audiobooks. I have my Kobo e-reader connected to my library account so that I can browse in the reader and borrow books straight into the e-reader. I have the same with my audiobooks. I use an app that the library provided me with and I borrow books straight into my phone. Tip number 3. Have a new book available before you finish your current one. Whatever format of a book you prefer, have a new book available before you finish the one you're reading right now. What I like to do is once I start reading a new book, I already think about what I'm going to read next. I usually choose between 3 to 5 books from different categories and upload them to my reader so that when I finish with this current one, I have a choice between 3 to 5 books. Having more, I found out that if I have more books, it kind of paralyzes me and it takes me several days to actually choose whichever I want to read. But if I have only one book, it might not be the book I would like to read next at that moment based on my mood and whatever is going on. There are many excellent book lists online that you can find and go through to get inspired and find the book that you would like to read next. I've included several links down below for you to check out. Those include book lists from Ryan Holiday, James Clear or Bill Gates. Tip number 4. Start with a new book immediately. Once I finish a book, I make sure I jump right into the next one. It's very easy to finish a book and then days go by and you don't read at all. I find it way easier to continue with my reading if I am constantly in the middle of a book. So once I finish a book, I make sure I start the next one on the same day. I also like to switch between fiction and non-fiction books. Having a fiction book in between two non-fiction books kind of allows me to have a mental break, and I feel like I absorb the information from the previous non-fiction book way better if I don't jump straight into the next one. Tip number 5. There is no such thing as guilty pleasure books. Do you like the idea of you reading Homer's Iliad, but you actually enjoy romantic novels? Don't feel bad about the books you enjoy. You like romantic novels? Then read romantic novels. And if you would like to broaden the spectrum of books you read, then do it slowly. Maybe for every 2 romantic novels you introduce 1 non-fiction book. At the beginning, it's all about creating a habit of reading rather than reading something challenging. If your goal would be to become a runner, you would not run a marathon on the 3rd day, right? Make it easy, enjoyable, and don't set up yourself for failure. Tip number 6. Surround yourself with books. If you're into physical books, have a nice bookshelf full of interesting books. Place books where you can see them. If you like to read books on your couch, make sure you have a book on your coffee table. If you commute, make sure you have a book in your bag. If you like to spend time on Instagram, make sure you follow some Instagram accounts that would inspire you to read more. Think about what you're doing during the day and how you can incorporate books there. Do you love to listen to podcasts? Well, there are many great podcasts about books. Do you have a friend who likes to read a lot? Ask them for suggestions or share with them what you have read last. Tip number 7. Make yourself accountable. There are many ways how you can make yourself accountable. Find a book buddy, someone who also likes to read a lot, and you can support each other on your daily readings. You can join a book club, either a local one or an online one. If you're serious about your reading, you can also create a pact with your partner or a friend where if you miss a day of reading, you give them $100. You can also create a Google Sheet with your reading progress, and you can share it with your family, friends, or even with the public. There are also many reading challenges online, like the 2020 Reading Challenge on Goodreads. Goodreads is a great platform where you can connect with friends who also like to read. You can get some suggestions for your next book, you can keep track of the books you've read, and you can also set goals for yourself. Just remember, winners and losers have the same goals. It's not the goals that determine whether we are going to be successful or not, it's the systems that we put in place. Tip number 8. Create new identity. Your goal should not be to read a book, but to become a reader. Instead of saying, I am someone who would like to read a book every week, say, I am someone who reads daily. It may seem like a small thing, but it changes how you approach your day. It becomes part of who you are. You're no longer someone who would like to read more, who would like to discuss books with friends, who would like to get the many benefits that reading offers. You are that person. And if you are that person, of course you have books at home. Of course you have a list of books you would like to read this year. And of course you're part of a book club. Well, those are my 8 tips to read more this year. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a like and subscribe. It gives me motivation and it helps other people to discover my channel. Thank you, and I will see you in my next video. Tip number 1, decide when you're going to read. Before school, during school, after school, whenever I had a spare minute, I would read. Tip number 2, have a book available at all times. I like to have them so that they are... Tip number 3. Once I finish my current book, I make sure. Tip number 4. Tip number 7. Make yourself accountable. Join a book club, local one or... it becomes part of you.